The shadow algorithm. It all began innocently enough. Jenna loved social media, and like millions of others, she spent countless hours scrolling through Facebook. The platform knew her well, almost too well. Every advertisement, every suggested friend, every video in her feed seemed perfectly tailored to her interests. It was comforting, like a friend who always knew what she needed. But what she didn't realize was that Facebook knew more than her interests, it knew her fears. One late October evening, Jenna was lounging on her couch, the glow of her phone the only light in the room. A notification pinged, "We've curated a new group for you, Nightmare Stories. Join now?" Jenna smirked. She loved a good horror story. Without a second thought, she tapped "Join." The group was unlike any she had seen before. The posts were vivid and eerie, each describing hauntingly specific fears. One post caught her eye. "The shadow algorithm, ever feel like someone's watching you? You're not wrong. The algorithm sees everything. It feeds off your darkest thoughts and mirrors them back to you." A chill ran down her spine. Jenna brushed it off as a clever gimmick, a ploy to engage users. Still, she couldn't help but scroll deeper. The posts became stranger. They seemed personal. To the girl in the red hoodie, sitting alone on her couch, "You felt it, haven't you? The cold touch on your shoulder when no one's there. The flicker of shadows in the corner of your eye. Don't look now, but it's standing right behind you." Jenna froze. She was wearing a red hoodie. Her couch was the only piece of furniture in her small apartment. Her breath quickened as her eyes darted around the dimly lit room. Nothing. Just her overactive imagination. The next day, the posts in the group became even more unnerving. Pictures appeared, grainy, low-light photos of her apartment. Her heart raced as she scrolled through them. Each photo was captioned, "You're never really alone." Jenna's first instinct was to call the police. But what would she say? "Facebook is stalking me?" She tried reporting the group, but the platform wouldn't let her. Every time she clicked "Report," the app froze. Frustrated, she decided to delete her account altogether. That's when the message appeared. "You can't leave." Her screen went black for a moment before rebooting. When it turned back on, her Facebook feed was gone, replaced by a live video. It was her apartment. The view was from the corner of the room, near the ceiling. Jenna's stomach churned as she glanced up. There was no camera there, but the video showed her, sitting on her couch, looking up in terror. She threw her phone across the room, shattering the screen. Breathing heavily, she grabbed her laptop, desperate to contact someone, anyone. But as soon as she logged in, the same live feed appeared. This time, a message scrolled across the screen. "Don't fight it." Her laptop shut down abruptly. Jenna's heart pounded as she backed into the corner of her apartment, clutching her chest. She needed help, but she couldn't trust her phone or computer. She ran to her neighbor's door and banged on it frantically. "Mr. Carpenter. Please, open up." The door creaked open, and Mr. Carpenter, a frail man in his 70s, peeked out. "Jenna? What's wrong?" "Someone's been watching me through my devices. I need to use your phone to call the police." He hesitated but nodded, stepping aside to let her in. Jenna quickly dialed 911, but the line crackled, and a familiar voice whispered, "Why fight it, Jenna?" She dropped the phone, her hands trembling. Mr. Carpenter looked at her, concerned. "What is it?" Before she could respond, his television flickered on. The screen showed the same live feed of her apartment. Jenna screamed, and Mr. Carpenter staggered back, clutching his chest. "What is this?" he wheezed. The voice from the television was calm, almost soothing. "You shouldn't have tried to leave, Jenna. Now he'll pay the price." Mr. Carpenter collapsed. Jenna knelt beside him, shaking him, but he didn't respond. Tears streamed down her face as she stumbled back to her apartment. She locked the door and curled up on the couch, sobbing. For days, she didn't touch her phone or computer. But the terror didn't stop. Her television turned on by itself, showing the same live feed. Her smart speaker whispered her name at night. Even her microwave displayed cryptic messages like, "It's watching," when she tried to heat her meals. Desperate, Jenna decided to confront the source. She powered on her shattered phone and opened Facebook. The group, Nightmare Stories, was gone. In its place was a single notification. "You're invited to the Shadow Algorithm, a live event. Join now." She hesitated, her finger hovering over the screen. Finally, she tapped Join. The screen went black before displaying a message. "Thank you for accepting. We've been waiting." The live feed reappeared, but this time, the angle was different. It wasn't showing her apartment. It was showing her childhood bedroom, the place she hadn't been in years. Her old toys were strewn across the floor, and the closet door was slightly ajar. A shadowy figure stood just inside, barely visible in the darkness. Jenna's heart stopped. She remembered that closet. As a child, she'd always been terrified of it, convinced there was something evil lurking inside. Her parents had dismissed her fears, but she'd never forgotten the nightmares. The figure stepped out of the closet, its movements slow and deliberate. It was tall and gaunt, its face obscured by shadows. As it moved closer to the camera, Jenna's phone vibrated violently, the screen flashing a single word. "Run." But she couldn't move. Her body was frozen in place as the figure reached out, its long fingers nearly touching the camera lens. The screen went dark, and Jenna's apartment was plunged into silence. Then came the knock at her door. It was soft at first, almost polite. Jenna's breath hitched as the knocking grew louder and more insistent. She backed away, her eyes fixed on the door. The handle twisted, and the door creaked open, revealing nothing but darkness beyond. Her phone buzzed again. She glanced down to see a final message. "Welcome to the Shadow Algorithm. You're part of us now." The door slammed shut, and the room went completely dark. Jenna's screams echoed, but no one heard them. The next day, her Facebook profile was active again, posting cheerful updates as if nothing had happened. Friends commented on her photos, oblivious to the truth. Jenna was gone, but the algorithm had a new user, and it was always hungry for more.